Hey everyone, I'm here with Matt, 731 Woodworks. We are doing a charity build with this cutting board here. We're going to go over in my video basically how to build a cutting board without any very detailed specifics. You're going to get those on his video. I'll link in the description to it, where he's going to go over step by step all the measurements, how to cut this up and everything. So I'm going to go over in this video how to do some tips and tricks on fixing a couple of imperfections we've got on here with some cracks, and a deep dive into how to do inlays for the Union stars. All right, let's get to it. Okay, this is going to be just a few minutes of an overview of kind of how we prepped. We're using Purple Heart, Walnut, and Maple for this flag. Matt's going to go ahead and join us an edge on here so we can get a good glue up. We're going to cut down several strips that are going to be about 1.25 inches wide on every one of them, and then we'll cut the Purple Heart down twice and glue those up to get our Union. And then we're going to go over and cut those down to length on the miter saw. And there you go. There's all of our strips ready to go. So we're going to glue this up in two different parts. We're going to glue all these stripes up together, and then we're going to glue the Union on separate because we're going to be utilizing some dowels for that project. Once everything's glued up here, we're going to run a sacrificial board kind of in front of this so we don't get any snipe, and run it through that DeWalt planer there. Go over to the crosscut sled and let's get one of our edges squared up. And then we're going to drill some pocket holes here. Just because we got a couple of end grain connections here, just want to make it secure. Truth is, you could probably not worry about that, and it would be just fine. We're going to get all the glue put on here, get these dowels in here, and then we're going to get this thing clamped up, leave it setting for a couple hours, and then we're going to go ahead and get some sanding done on it. We'll run it back through the planer again, too. Now, those cracks that we had on here that Matt spoke about, all I'm going to do is mix some sawdust here with some glue. Super simple, and you're just going to rub that into the cracks, and it should take care of that, and you should not have any problem once you come back and sand that down. Basically should make those cracks virtually invisible. I am using walnut. That's where most of our cracks was on the walnut pieces, so I want to make sure I make like a little walnut paste with this. So again, we're using Titebond 3. This does need to be food safe and waterproof because it is a cutting board. It's going to likely see, at very minimum, some water. All right, so let's jump into the software and let's explain how to do the inlay. Okay, so we're going to jump over here into the software. I've already got my stars imported, but all you have to do to find any of these Union stars basically is just go do a search. You can do a Google search, Union Stars SVG. I would suggest purchasing something from some of these folks that have taken the time to develop this and get these out there. I don't remember where I purchased mine. It's been so long ago, but they're very inexpensive. So just help support another maker. Purchase you some stars and get them downloaded. Once you do that, you can come back into the software. Simply come up here to the file button and import. Then you can import vectors. Choose this file and it will be here and you will be good to go. All right, so once we have got this imported, it's really simple. The only other thing you have to do is obviously you want to set up your area, and for this particular one we're doing 8.125 and 6, and thickness really is irrelevant on this. We're not doing a through cut, so it doesn't matter as long as your thickness is greater than what you're actually carving in, then you should be fine. We're going to set our 0 position. We're going to use a material surface, and we are actually going to use the top left corner here. The reason we're doing that for this particular project is because we are going to go ahead and glue in the Union. And we want to be able to reference an outside corner. For me, it's just easy. I mean, you can reference anywhere you want to. If you want to reference the center and figure out where that is, that's completely fine too. But on this particular project, I'm going to reference this top left-hand corner. That'll just make it easier whenever I'm setting things up on the machine. Once we get that done, we just simply click OK. Zoom out a little bit. For me, we're going to highlight this whole area. We're going to come up here and we are going to click on switch to toolpath view. And it's pretty straightforward. We're going to choose V-carve. Here on the negative section, it is always going to be a start depth of 0 because we want to start at the material surface because we're cutting a negative into the material. Our flat depth is going to be whatever it is you want as far as a depth. It's kind of an arbitrary number. You can kind of pick what you feel is necessary. But as a good rule of thumb, if you're just starting out, you just want to practice, you can set your flat depth at 0.11. That's a good, negative number. And you are good to go. We've actually got our V-bit selected here. This is a Cadence Manufacturing Jenny 60-degree V-bit. I'll leave a link in the description and a coupon code so you can get you a little bit of discount here. But this is the bits that I prefer to use. With the negative section or the female section on this particular design, we do not really need a clearance tool. There's nowhere where it's gonna get. So we can go ahead and remove that. And you're going to name your project, whatever it is you're going to name it, and then you're just simply going to hit calculate. You're going to see all your toolpaths displayed here. Hit preview all toolpaths, and you can see this is what we're going to wind up with. We're going to have a negative, kind of like a pocketed toolpath for each of our stars. The next thing you want to do is come over here and close this. We are going to click on the Save button, and we are going to save these toolpaths. Simply click on this here, name them whatever you will, whatever folder you're going to put them in, and you are good to go for that particular toolpath. I'm just going to reset everything here just so you can see, because everything's going to remain the same. And I've already got these saved on another file to send them out to the machine. All right, so we're back here. We've just imported everything. And with the positive toolpath, there's a couple of things you really need to pay attention to and make sure you do. The first one is we're going to actually highlight our entire union area. Come over here, or whatever software you have, choose your mirror selected, and we are going to mirror this horizontally. You may not see hardly any change, but trust me, if there was a slightest bit off, even if it's symmetrical, it can cause you problems if you don't mirror it. So make sure you always mirror your project. Because in the end, we're going to be flipping over the positive section into the negative section anyway. And if you don't mirror it, it's going to be off if there's the slightest little bit of difference. So this starts the same way. You can import the stars. Then you're going to come up with this one. You're going to first, you don't have to do it first. We can do it this way. We'll get rid of this rectangle. So basically what you want to do is you want to make sure you highlight the whole area. Highlight the whole area. Then you're going to come over here and mirror horizontally. We've done that. And then the next thing you're going to do is come over here and you're going to draw a triangle. And you want your triangle just roughly around the outside edges, and then you can actually adjust it from here. You do want it to extend a little past your edge, maybe not this much, but that's fine for our purposes here. You're going to be clearing out this whole area, and it's just going to make it a lot easier. You're going to end up cutting it over at the bandsaw or something anyway. So once all that's done, this design tab is done. We're going to go over to our toolpath. This time we are going to select everything, including our little rectangle around the outside. We are going to come back over here to V-carve. We are going to make sure that our bit is selected, and this is the same one. We do want to use a clearance toolpath this time. It's not going to affect the stars, but we want to be able to definitely get rid of everything in these bigger areas. Again, I'm going to use a Cadence Manufacturing bit. That's a downcut spiral bit. So be able to clean up that nicely. So once we've got that done, we're going to come back up here, and this is where things get a little confusing for some people. So in the end, whatever we do here on the positive section or on the male section, it has to equal whatever flat depth we set on the negative or female section. So for us, remember, we set 0.11. So we know that we want at least 0.02 tenths of an inch as far as where our glue can squeeze out. So we can go ahead and enter that, and the start depth is simply going to be the difference between what our flat depth was and what our ending depth is here, 0.02. So that is going to be 0.09. That's going to be our start depth. That's going to give us this area here, room underneath our male area, to allow for some glue squeeze out. All right, so once that's done, you'll name your toolpath, click calculate, and you are going to see it populate here. It's going to clear out everything around the outside, and then you're going to be left with the male section of the star. And that's what's going to go into the negative or female section with glue, and that's going to be your inlay. Okay, so this is saved the same way. We'll click here, we'll click on save, we'll save the toolpaths, and we'll go out to the machine. Let's go. Okay, so here I'm just going to go ahead and get the bits in there. This is that 30-degree Jenny V-bit. I'll leave a link in the description to it. Thanks for Cadence Manufacturing for sending these over. I'm going to cut out the female section like I talked about here with this. Again, we're not going to have a clearance tool on this part. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and put our, I guess, our blank in. It's going to be for our male section. Doesn't have to be as thick. It just has to be thick enough to where you have a little material left to cut off. This one just happens to be from the same thing, so it's going to be the same thickness. I'll just have to cut all of it off. I'm going to go ahead and use the V-bit first, like I mentioned, and come back with this 1/4 inch, and it's 1/4 inch shank, 1/8 inch end mill to clear that out. Put a little bit of glue in each one of the stars, and then go ahead and get that brushed in good so you can kind of get it on all the sides. I'm going to get this clamped up. Can be a little tricky doing this and getting it clamped up just right, so just be careful. Sometimes you have to cut these in separate sections to do this, even if it's one piece. But these worked with the parallel clamps like this. It worked pretty good. That and the F clamps, it wound up doing a pretty good job. So I'm going to leave this. This is actually going to be left overnight. I prefer to do that. It just makes me feel better. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and take this over to the bandsaw. If you don't have a bandsaw with enough capability to cut this off like I'm doing, you can use a flush trim saw or something like that. I'm using the Bow. It's the XT546. This is the 46-inch attachable fence from Bow. I'll leave a link in the description to that. You can pick that up over at Taylor Toolworks. I got mine for my bandsaw, but I got the big one so you can actually use it on a table saw. They have several different sizes. But like I said, we're just going to cut this off, the bulk of it. And I'm going to take it over, and I'm going to use the Rotex. I have the Rotex, and it hogs off a lot of material at one time with a good grit sandpaper. So it might take you a little bit if you don't have something quite that powerful, but it can still get the job done. And then for me, with my boards, I like to go ahead and cut me a chamfer on the bottom, a pretty decent sized chamfer for these thicker boards, just so it's a good handhold and you don't have to worry about cutting handholds. I'm going to throw an 1/8 inch round over around the top, and then I'm going to put some oil on it, and that is the best part. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video. That was such a good time to be able to hang out with Matt. Thanks to 731 Woodworks for doing this video with me. Hopefully we can raise a lot of money for St. Jude, this completed board. So I'm going to leave a link below to the place where you're going to go to either donate or auction, place your bid for the auction. When you get on the first page, there's a donation button. You're absolutely welcome to donate there if you don't want to enter to win the board. But if you do, you just click on the little auction tab, place your bid, and We're going to run this for probably about a week. I'll leave the details below the link as far as the cutoff day. And I can't thank you enough for your support. Just so you know, we've opened up our channel membership. If you're interested at all in that, just click on the little join button, or there's a link in the description, the pinned comment. I'm just doing some behind the scenes things there, just kind of developing it. So I'm taking a lot of input from the people who have already joined. So it's just a really good time. So anyway, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one.